fact, a yes or no question. Is the audio working?
The audio is working,
Okay.
yes.
Hello! We probably should have just cut off of live and fixed that, and then, welcome to Tabletop Legends. You get to see what we get to deal with pretty much once a week on a weekly basis. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back. We are still at home, as are, I hope, all of you, and no one listening at home was one of those potatoes marching around state capitals over the last few days, crying
That
about
was
not being able to get your
certainly
hair cut.
Yes,
Look
please
at me,
don't
look
do
at
it.
my face, look at my beard and my hair.
I actually shaved
If I
last week.
can inflict this upon the world, you can wait a goddamn minute.
It's actually better because you see less of your face. So that's good.
There you go. Welcome to Tabletop Legends. It is Tuesday. We got some new things we're gonna try this week. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting because here at Tabletop Legends we are nothing if not wildly inconsistent with the quality of our show from week to week. Cancelled, according to Jason. The greatest difficulty that I have had in going to this digital format is that it has given Jason way too much power.
To be fair, he didn't have to fix his camera or get up or
That's
anything.
true. Yeah, he didn't get up as soon as we started. Typically,
Just wait.
it's between messing with the cameras and like the bleep bloop of him memeing in the Discord chat every 40 seconds for the entirety of our session. My life is ruined. Anyway, so we left off last week basically at the end of book 1 of our campaign, the Delve Requisite campaign, which means a lot more to me than it does to anybody else, as I'm the only one who really knows what that entails in terms of the overall story. But basically, the first kind of major chunk of our story is completed. The party, the Fools Errant, as they have dubbed themselves, have been working in the time frame of the game for a little bit less than a year. In the time frame of the real world for just about a year. As relic hunters for a group of older wizards, all of whom have some sort of an injury or handicap from a life of adventuring in their younger days, requiring them to hire on more able-bodied young relic hunters to delve various sites and go on adventures in their stead in search of magical artifacts and oddities of the lost age of magic of the Anvarian Empire. We saw the group fight undead in the town of Stone Mill in northern Mithlanday. They ventured to the funhouse horror show that was the estate of one Bolus Trolleyweather to obtain some sort of a cursed book that summoned a monster into reality just by reading it. We saw them assist a sort of a hangdog, aging homicide detective-esque character up in the northern reaches in the kingdom of Voland, investigating a murder or series of murders to uncover a cultist plot at the end of it all. And the stream has disconnected.
Did it really?
Yes, it did. Or at least this tells me that it did.
We're good.
Okay, sorry about that, folks.
Awesome.
Twitch is, as always, my favorite thing that doesn't make me hate. Just hate. I feel hate. And it's because of Twitch.
Hate goes through you.
Anyway, we wrapped up the last adventure arc of this book 1 was traveling down to the southern kingdom of Honorand, where the party investigated a long lost, what turned out to be a long lost Anvarian ruin that had been untouched for millennia, as the strangeness of the region caused the locals to decide that it was cursed or haunted in some way and steer clear of it. The party discovered this ancient Invarian research station, which had suffered a catastrophic accident involving temporal magic and the discovery of some sort of craft or vessel that, as far as anyone can tell, predates recorded history itself. With the uncovering of this momentous find, the group has returned back to the capital city of the Kingdom of Mithlande, Niveria, where they are reporting their finding back to the Collective of the Arcane Eye, and things are about to get a little different for everybody. So that is where we left off. That is where we'll be picking up on tonight's episode of Tabletop Legends. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everybody, and welcome back as we slowly
Tabletop
die
Legends. Legitimately.
from technical difficulties in the background.
Slowly descend into madness.
I think it might have been the simulator.
So we're going to try something, which you'll see in just a minute here. That timed out on us in the time it took me to get through the intro. Alrighty, so we return, and let us let's pull up this fun thing that we're trying for this week, which is not that. Hey, very off
Currently setting itself on fire.
We are using something called Tabletop Simulator, which I found last week, and might be a fun thing to try. We're gonna play around with this as everybody else gets in. This will come into play later on. I'm not too worried about it right now. So, as you guys mess around with that in the background, let's just jump right into it this week. When we left last week, you guys had arrived at the apartments of the Collective of the Arcane Eye at 28 Dorset in the Forest Ward of the capital city, Niveria. You had shown Dimios Themeran, one of the wizards of the Collective, your inscription of the teleportation coordinates for the Invarian research station that you found, as well as the detached head of the strange metal golem that you had found in the interior of the ship. He had subsequently stood up and hurried out of the room to go send a message out to Namara and Colin, who are currently out of the apartment, to return post haste and sit down with all of you. So at this point, you guys have a little bit of time as Namara and Colin return from whatever the errand that they were on. Stanfield has set out some of his world-famous coffee and a few tea cakes and things like that. various refreshments for you guys in the parlor, and then has gone off and is busying himself in the kitchen as Dimios is up in the third floor arcanum that they have set up there. And essentially you're just waiting for Colin and Namara to return. At that point, the table is yours for a few minutes if you want to discuss anything amongst yourselves or anything like that while you're waiting.
I am not so subtly looking for an object to use as a toy to throw to Blinky.
I mean, anything is a fetch toy if you believe hard enough. So I guess what are you looking for? What are you trying to find?
A ball
Perhaps a-
or a...
Masterwork
What?
violin.
And
Is there
thus
like a
begins-
skeleton in the corner that I can grab the femur of, or...
You know, oddly enough, there is not a skeleton in the corner of the sitting room of these people's house.
You're thinking of Walter's house, sorry.
I will go up to my room, grab a sock, and use that as a toy.
Okay. So you go get
I'm
you
gonna-
retrieve your sock. Blinky the Blink Dog puppy is happy to sort of, let you kind of like throw it. She just kind of watches it go, and as soon as it lands, she gives out, one like, and then teleports across the room, grabs it, teleports back with it. Absolutely refuses to give it to you when bringing it back, so that you can throw it again.
No take, only throw.
Yes, no take, only throw. And as you guys are watching this, what are the rest of you doing?
I am giving Walter a little bit of side eye. Really? You pulled out the hand and went, "Let me give you a hand." You went there.
I mean, it's been a very long time. You can only play I Spy for like one straight month on the road before you lose all of your senses.
Fair point. I'll give that to you.
Do you guys want to play I Spy again?
It was rocks.
No.
It was rocks for 10 straight miles. There was nothing else
No.
there.
It was grass when we went out, and it was rocks when we went back. This is different.
I just start chugging coffee from the carafe at this point.
Did we see the herd of peeps on the way back?
No, you decimated the population of peeps.
They are extinct now.
They're now extinct. And you're a monster, and there's a sizable price on your head
Well done.
from Fantasy PETA. All right. Well, if you guys are all set, then about 45 minutes passes before Dimios Dimios returns downstairs, briefly followed by Namara and Colin coming in from the front hall, coming from somewhere outside of the apartment. And as they come in, Dimios kind of is like hurrying down the stairs, and he goes and he waves to the other two. Quickly, come. The Fools Errant have returned. They have... just come. You'll have to see. And as they begin walking in, Namara kind of stops in the doorway. Gives you guys... not like the once over, as she, her blank eyes sort of sweep sightlessly around the room, but she does sort of turn her head as if kind of taking everything in. And she puts a hand sort of behind her, and Colin kind of walks into it, and she says, Colin, dear, you might want to go to your room and retrieve your book. It will save a little time, I think. And he kind of like leans his head around her, looks at the group of you in the room, and he goes, "Oh, I suppose that's a good idea. I take it I know these people. And she
I
says,
wave at Colin.
yes.
I'm gonna
You
wave the
do.
hand at Colin.
128.
He's like, oh, hang on, let me get the book first. I'm probably going to forget that before I even get up there. Bloody. Kind of stomps out of the room. You hear him thump, thump, thump go up the stairs. Demios comes the rest of the way in and sort of thumps himself down into the chair. Namara, much more sort of gracefully, kind of gliding across the room and settling herself into her seat as well, before sort of leaning back and steepling her fingers, just patiently waiting. After a few moments, Colin comes back down the stairs. Thunk, 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 thunk. He has his big leather-bound book in his hands. He sits in his own customary seat. All right, what was the numbers again?
I believe mine's 128.
28. All right.
124.
I'm 25, I believe.
Look, I'm the one with the chronic brain curse. The responsibility of remembering your numbers has to be on you people.
Look, sometimes you level up, and sometimes you change your physical sheet, and sometimes you don't have the number written down anymore.
Aye,
128.
Mr.
I
I
am
suppose that's the struggle that I know pretty well. After a bit of kerfuffling, at least one wrong number given, and the clarifying that none of you are in fact Horatio, the town crier that Colin has been carrying on a quarrel with over the past few months.
No, seriously, I'm not.
You don't know that
I'm
that's
not
not
him.
wrong.
I mean, it could be. We don't know.
Has
He,
Fidget ever been given a number?
Fidget, I don't think has been given a number.
Probably not on screen, but like we
Yeah.
assume he has been. As it
You
would have
know
been
who-
a requisite of like becoming part of the group and moving in here and everything that he gets.
You
a
know
number.
who doesn't have a number? And I hold up Blinky.
Nola.
He's like, I think
Later.
maybe alright, small animal under like as a subset under your number there. I think that's a little. And he like, makes a note. So after a couple of minutes of him referencing his book and sort of going over his notes of like who you guys are and his past interactions with you, Brahm, when he's going through your entry, he gets like 3/4 of the way down and you see him like stop, and he goes, "Oh, you and I have to have a chat later." He continues his reading.
Oh god.
Hey, the fairy bit mother is here. Hello, V Brown. Finishes his reading. Now remembers who all of you are. Is up to date on who all of you are, and he closes his book, sets it aside. And he goes, "All right, what's all this big fuss about?" And Demios gestures to the.
Puppy!
Nope, not the puppy. He gestures to the metallic head and arm that are on the table, and he says, "I believe that our relic hunting team here has stumbled upon something of a considerable significance. Please, if you would, now that the three of us have gathered, tell us of what has happened since you've left. It's been 2.5 months, roughly, yes? Not an
Yes, it has.
unexpected length of time. It seems you've made a reasonable trip of it. And I dare say you have quite a story to tell."
Do you want the highlight, or do you want the entire tale from beginning to end?
He says, "For now, perhaps the slightly abbreviated version, at least as it is relevant to what you have found, this ruin that you have stumbled upon."
Alar will pick up his notebook, which is next to the head and the arm, flip it open to the appropriate page. The Scarred Lands were apparently an Invarian research station, intact, undisturbed. And here are teleportation coordinates to the station.
The two wizards rather, Dimios and Colin both like lean in their chairs to look over your notebook. Namara just kind of impassively still sitting in her seat. After a few moments looking at these, Dimios says, "And these are accurate."
I'll
have a
take my copy. I'll take my copy out as well as like I copied it in
Sure.
addition. If you want to try to verify versus two different people copying the same thing to.
He nods. This is... Good lords. All right. Colin kind
Oh,
of...
it gets better.
Colin goes like, "By all means, lad, proceed."
Have you ever heard of chronomancy?
Chronomancy. The study of... I'm presuming by the name you're talking about time magic. This is not something that I've ever seen or heard of practiced. You're saying you have evidence or some information about time magic being practiced by the Invarians.
We found pieces of a device that the Invarians used and was damaged and caused the Scarred Lands to become the Scarred Lands, which in what I guess would be called flashbacks or visions of the past, they called it chronomancy. And they actually, it was a practice of some branch of Arcanus in the Empire.
Do you have the sample with you?
Here's a sample of some of the device. We brought as much of it back as we could.
I see. Two things running here. This is... I am at a loss for words. This is unprecedented. This is... Colin sits up. This is our golden ticket, as I think the word you're looking for, Dimios.
I point at Colin.
Dimios continues to kind of look over everything you've brought. He says, "This is certainly a find of historic value." I'm doing too many voices at once.
That was like a combination of four different
Right,
voices.
too many people being run right now. This is certainly a find of most historic value, but it is not. It is not. It's not our project. It doesn't further the advancement of our research into the study of Arcanum and this. And he seems to be like kind of, and Colin cuts him off. He's like, "Oi! Who bloody cares? That right there," points at the teleportation circle that you've drawn. He points at the head. He points at the little vial full of sand. He's like, "That right there has got bookkeepers written all over it. We bring that to them, we're in."
Wait,
If that
Alar,
doesn't get you in,
Alar, hold on. I'm gonna cast Dancing Lights over Alar real fast, just to like amp up the effect.
if that doesn't get you in, he pulls out the shard from the ship's hull. This came off of a ship that is older than the Invarian Empire. That's what they were studying down there. And he sets it down next to the golem head. These came from that ship.
I got a real good look at it. It was in fact a ship.
Demios is quiet for a while as he's looking. He says, seems a little overwhelmed by all of this. He says, but I'll study. We were preparing our findings to present to them. This is not how we had planned to gain entry into the bookkeepers. I was like, oi, I don't see what it matters. You can continue your studies all you like once you're in. I bet they've got a damn sight near more research materials and resources, and we've got access to on our own. I don't see what you're butterflying about this for.
Dimius, what is the nature of your study, if you don't mind me asking?
He says, it does what we've spoken about. We've been studying cursed objects, trying to find a correlation between different schools of magic and the ley energies that encompass them, and the inherent nature of good and evil.
We made some friends with some weretigers in the vicinity of the teleportation circle. If cursed magic is what you'd really like, it's presumable this circle could take you within half a day's journey of where they are. If you'd like to continue that line.
He says, of course, but and there is no doubt that we need to, that we should. This should go to the bookkeepers. It is too big to keep to ourselves, of course. But he kind of like, you get the impression he already knows kind of what's up, but he seems like this is a little world shattering him. He says, just decades on this study. This is just. He chuckles. Not how I thought we would get into the Ordinum Librae.
Well,
Colin.
if you're going to get in, you might as well get in making a hell of a splash.
In my experience, plans rarely go as we expect them to, and that's not always a bad thing.
You may be able to go back there and look around, because I don't think the Avarians were really doing. They were basically up to no good. They were there and I covered the Blinky's ears. They murdered her mother.
Wait. Hold on. That dog, that
Yes.
creature is.
1,500 years old.
How is that possible?
Probably a
Chronomancy.
little older. Yeah, it was trapped inside with the bubble of the stopped time.
He kind of he nods. He says, "Right. Well, I think we should consider." He's addressing Colin and Amara now. He says, "I think we should consider how we proceed from here. The Fools Errant are the first to delve the ruin under our charter, the Collective of the Arcane Eye, by all Interkingdom Guild laws. First discovery rights to this ruin are ours. I think we should consider our position before we make any decisions about how we should proceed." And Colin says, "Hey, look, mate, that's fine. Just so long as we all understand that at the end of the day, this is too big not to turn into the bookkeepers. They've got the resources, they've got the knowledge, they've got well, the moral motivation to do the right thing with this. And not for nothing, I appreciate that this is not the vision you had for how we get into the bookkeepers. But I hate to tell you, I don't care how we get into the bookkeepers. If they've got something in their vaults among their members that can fix this, taps his head, thumps the book, we need to go for it. We'll keep working on our own project later, but for now I think we all know what the right thing to do is. Demius sort of turns towards Namara, who has been silent for the duration of this conversation so far. And he says, Namara, you have been awfully quiet. This was your lead. This discovery would not have been possible without you. Do you have no opinions on this? And she just sort of smiles a little bit, and she says, I believe that Master Fidget is wise beyond his years. Rarely do plans work out as expected. And it seems that is sometimes not always a bad thing. We will figure out what is right. And there's a few moments of silence as the group kind of look at each other. Demios turns to you and he says, very well. The three of us have some discussing to do about the specifics of this, and probably some messenger sparrows to send out. Give us a few hours to talk, collect our thoughts, and prepare our plan. You have had a long journey to return here. I'm sure you could use a little bit of time to relax. He looks at a clock on the mantelpiece. He says, let us return at dinner time. By that time, we will have a plan on how to proceed.
As you say.
He stands up and he calls into the room. He says, Stanfield, if you would kindly prepare payment for the completion of this contract. And you hear Stanfield kind of bustle from the other room. He says, right over, sir. And Stanfield, I believe in this instance, due to the magnitude of the discovery that has been made, I believe we can offer a bonus. He says, of course, sir. The standard? Says, yes, I think that will be sufficient. And with that, Demius, Colin, and Amara prepare to leave the room and head upstairs to their Arcanum to discuss. After a little bit of time, Stanfield comes in and he provides you each with a purse containing 200 gold pieces.
Ooh.
Thank you, Stanfield.
Not my money, sir. I just carried it from the safe to here, but you're welcome all the same.
Well, not just for this, but...
Of course, sir. Is there anything that I can assist any of you with, or anything you need, before you go on your separate ways?
I don't think so.
Very well then, I shall be around the apartments should you need me. And he bustles out as well. So once again, you guys have a little bit of time. It's probably shortly after lunch at this point. You have several hours to do whatever you want. Within, reasonable ability to get back here by about dinner time.
I need to immediately, after we break, go to the ambassador quarter, I believe it is.
Yes. You're heading to the Moxham embassy.
Yes.
Sure. All right. Anyone else?
Think I'm going to make a quick stop over to that courier again and drop off a little bit of money to send to.
Okay, no problem. Brom, Nula, and Fidget. What are you guys up to?
I'm gonna make a visit to my friends.
Okay, you can seek out your friends.
I'm following her.
You're going with her. Alrighty.
I'm gonna go upstairs and change my clothes and then just hit the street.
Just hitting the street. Alrighty. Okay, let's do this. Alrighty. So, as you guys disperse, I'm just gonna roll. I'm gonna roll a dice, and we'll hit people in order of whatever they come up on the dice. So, Brom, we will cover you first. Everybody disperses. You change your clothes, and you head out onto the streets of Mithlande. Let me do something.
Ooh.
Alrighty.
Russell's computer crashes.
Russell's computer crashes.
I'm not even in.
He's not even in it. That's okay.
Watching on
It's all for
screen.
show anyway.
It's booting up on the other computer, but it's
okay.
it's not it. So I have to wait till it happens on the stream to see it.
So, let's see. Where you at there? My boy. I don't know. Oh boy.
This guy's name.
There he is. Boop. Okay. So we have Brom out and about on the streets of Mithlande.
One of our shops is ran out of hosting funding.
What's that?
At time. One of our shops
yeah.
is at tinypick.com.
There's a bunch of stuff. So this is like the bones of this are a pre-made thing that I took, and then I just like edited a bunch. There was a bunch of stuff that was like that I had to take out. Except that one is the only one that I can't get it. It's like clipped into other stuff in such a way that I can't select it to delete it. So it's just there. We're just keeping it off frame for the people. So fun fact, by the way. If you guys are watching on stream, this is 28 Dorset. This is the apartments of the Collective of the Arcane Eye.
Wait, which one?
This one over here. There's like a dude standing in front of it.
Also,
okay.
you can use the right-click mouse to adjust your camera angle, and you can WASD to move around.
So we will head back to the streets. Brom, what are you up to as you're heading out onto the streets?
I'm gonna make my way to like the nearest like center.
Sure. Yeah. There's like a little market square area, just down the street from the Collective's apartments.
And I take out a bell.
All right.
I ring my bell. Hear ye, Horatio, the town crier. All is well. Continue on with your day. Well, that's it.
He climbs up on a crate. All right, so you do that. A small kind of group of people gather around a little bit. Make a performance check for me. Let's see how far you get your reach. Uh-oh.
What?
Somebody did something.
I didn't do anything. Undo.
Somebody did something. Oh God, what happened?
Oh no.
Okay, so whoever did something, don't do that anymore.
At least they didn't flip the table.
I mean, that's a little bit what happened. It wasn't me.
It's locked. How did you even manage that?
Who did it?
I think it was me. I was trying to look around.
That makes me so mad. It makes me just want to...
Good night, everybody.
Put that back.
We hope you enjoyed Tabletop Legends.
Boy.
I think my favorite is that the smoke stayed together.
All right,
All right, that's okay. We're good. We're back. What was your performance check?
25. Is that what I just said?
Sure.
Something like that.
Okay, so with a 25, a small kind of group of people gather around. They I don't know what that was. I heard something that I didn't like in the background.
That was me taking my dice out.
Oh, okay. A few people kind of gather around to listen to you as you're like ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, ringing your bell, and as you give your speech, there's like sort of a few moments of confused, like looking at each other, and then one gentleman just goes like, "All right, thanks for the update."
You're welcome.
And they just like go back about their
Carry on with your
business.
dice.
Alrighty, well, that was eventful. Next we
That was
have
all I wanted to do.
Alar. So you, I guess there's not really much to do there. You are able to go send your courier. You are sending a parcel containing what amount?
50 gold pieces.
50 GP. And that is, remind me in the past, are you sending that, are you sending these parcels care of a one Raxus Thorn to go?
Yes, from
Okay.
Care of Raximus Thorn to Della Cavett.
Alrighty. Easily done. You send your parcel off and are able to be on your way.
And I'll head right back to 28 Dorset afterward.
Okay. Walter. Easy enough. Takes you about 25-30 minutes to walk counterclockwise around the exterior of Mithlande, which actually, since we're not doing Brahmini, why don't we pop this bad boy up here?
Spacebar snaps back to main camera center, by the way.
Pop up this doesn't look like anything for you guys. I just popped the Mithlindian
yes.
Nigeria map up onto stream there. So I don't think there's any way for me to like indicate for people where anyone is moving. But basically, Walter has gone from the upper right, like outermost ring, around to the next ring in, and to like the left, essentially like the left or westernmost interior ring. So you are able to arrive without incident at the Moxham Trading and Mercantile offices there. You walk into that building you've been in a few times now. That same sort of atrium is there to greet you. The same well-kept and sort of neutral-mannered half-elven woman looks up as you walk in, gives you a half nod, and she says, "Mr. Gray, how can I assist you?"
I need to have the fastest, most secure message to Moxham sent immediately. It is of the utmost priority for our situation.
And she says, "Of course, sir. One moment." She leaves the desk and goes into the back for a few minutes, and she comes back a few moments later, gestures to you and says, "Right this way. There is a secure room ready for you."
All right, I'll follow her to the room.
So, she brings you into a chamber that contains nothing but a small, like, plain table, wooden table, and a single chair. It is illuminated by a flameless lantern that is set on the table. And in the center of the table, there is a stone, about yay big, like maybe like the size of like a lemon, and it has a rune etched into it. And she says, "This, if you're not familiar with it, is a sending stone, um, reserved, of course, for employees of your rank or above. You can send a secure message to a individual who has direct access to Mr. Moxham within his estate. The message will reach Mr. Moxham's ears with as much haste and security as is possible for us to achieve."
Outstanding. Is this room warded?
It
I
is.
assume.
You are secure from any mundane or magical espionage while in this room. She kind of steps out. She says, "There is no need to do anything special with the stone. Simply pick it up and speak into it. The message will be delivered to the like pair. Be advised that you should keep your statement below 25 words. At that point, connection becomes unreliable, and the message can fail to send."
All right, cool. Give me one quick second to draft up my 25-word message. If you want to skip to somebody else real fast,
Sure,
that's
we can
fine.
do that as you're doing that. We'll bounce over to Kel and Nula.
Sure.
So make a investigation check, Nula.
Sorry, I was typing all my thoughts about the scene. I had to get them out somewhere. All right, I will make an investigation check. 14.
14. So you hunt around. You head to kind of the usual.
Are they there?
What's that?
Are they on the map?
Or who on the map? Oh,
Gregory and Alden.
Maybe. However, it looks like for now, for today, you are not able to locate either of them, as they you go to the usual haunts, the gate where they typically are stationed. You go to a couple of the places that you know from your past interactions with them, that they hang out when they're off duty. You don't know where either of them live, but you kind of search around for where you would typically look, and either they are on duty elsewhere in the city, or they are potentially off duty today, and you're not able to track them down at this point. Given your limited amount of time, you only have a few hours to sort of complete this search. You have to kind of focus your search on the most likely areas. You don't have time to really do a large sweep of the
Has
city.
she described them to Fidget?
I think I would have at this point. Yeah. I think I would have.
So can Fidget try to investigate for them, or the city's real big though?
If
I
only
mean,
that's
while
the
we're
kind of
walking around,
divination
Fidget's gonna cast locate creature.
That's that gives you like 1,000-foot range, right?
Yeah, as for an hour while we're walking around.
Okay. Let's see. So if you're heading towards their gate, so no, you will not be able to pick up a ping on. I guess you got to focus on a specific one, like one of the two of them, right?
I mean, Nula gets to decide which one that is because I don't know either of these people.
So
Alden.
Okay. So you kind of cast this magical net out using the best description you can get from Nula, but you are not able to locate this person within 1,000 feet of it, of sort of the locations that you check, which are largely relegated to like the eastern side of the city.
I regret to inform you, Nula, that your friends are probably dead. I cannot find them.
What? What? They can't be dead. They can't be the truth. No. This happens a lot. We just don't find them, and we'll look tomorrow. It's fine. They're not dead.
Well, if I can't find them, they're probably either dead or on another plane of existence.
They are not dead. They are not dead. I would have been told if they were dead. La
You
la
weren't
la la
here.
la
How
la
would they
la.
have told you?
Oh. Someone would have informed me.
Well, we weren't here.
Yeah, but the wizards know that they're my friends, and they would have known. Don't worry. They're not dead. They're not dead. They're not dead. They're not dead. They're not dead, right? Right? They're not dead.
I'm pretty sure they are, but
Just as she's saying that, the town choir walks by. Hey, those two gods are dead.
well, time to go back.
I'm pretty sure Alar's gonna hear that distant cry and go, "Ah, hell! Now what's wrong with Nula?"
We'll put that back over.
Can we go look at your gnome friend's stuff now?
No.
You'll come across Nula looking horribly distraught, and Fidget looking like, well, Fidget. Look between the two of them. Okay, what happened?
Her friends are dead.
They're dead.
What?
Yeah, I can't find them.
Okay, wait. What did you cast?
Locate creature.
That has a range bigger than city.
Look, I'm very good at finding things, and if I couldn't find them, they're either dead or not on this plane of existence as far as I'm concerned.
Alar is going to lean in very close to Fidget. Fidget. They're not dead.
We'll
Are
see.
you sure?
Come on, Nula. Let's head back to 28 Dorset. We'll find them tomorrow. I promise.
Hey, those two gods totally dead.
I cast Mage Hand and flick Brahm's hat off of his head.
That's the extra. Read all about it.
Wait, we can hang on. Let's go back to.
Oh yeah, I did see.
Let's go back to the city. Let's get here. Whoa, we got Brahm. We can get. We can get Alar. Oh God, Alar.
Okay.
Thrown
Alar is drunk in an alley again.
And let's see.
Here we go again.
Where is it? Hang on. Who broke the damn floor again?
I didn't do it. I'm not touching a darn thing.
Rewinding time.
Rewinding time.
I think someone is right-clicking and picking up the floor.
Yes.
Is the problem?
Be very
So we-
cautious. Don't.
About-
That's why I said don't touch anything but your tokens before, because that's what happens.
How do I move the camera so that I'm not looking top down, I'm looking face on to the...
Hold right-click, and then you can do up, down, left, right, rotate. WASD moves it around like you're walking on your plane.
I'm
So
still
you can,
looking but I'm like top down view. I can't...
so you can scroll up, scroll down.
Here it is.
It doesn't... It's not doing what I want it to do.
Alar hits Brahm with a mage hand.
I'm looking from above. I don't know how to change that.
Hold right-click,
Yeah,
and then drag it like up or down.
that just is spinning things. All right, we'll figure it out later. This doesn't have to
I
be-
had all that fuss with the that I had a mage hand mini, and it just like occurred to me that all of your guys' like indicator things are already just like a floating hand, and it was like totally unnecessary. Oh boy! All right. Well, we have fun
wait.
here.
You can actually right-click and flick. Oh no, you can't.
Back at the Moxham
There it is.
embassy. Have you prepared your message, Walter?
Yes, I have.
Alrighty, go for it.
And the message is as follows. Oh no. Okay. The message to Moxum will be as follows. Group discovered world-changing ruin. Lamp may be in play. Want to negotiate value of information. Longtusk tribe may be valuable in. Patrons making big moves. Which is exactly 25 words.
Okay. Alrighty. About 10 minutes go by, and you get a message back from a voice that you don't recognize. But the voice says, "Message received. The master says, do nothing for now. Observe. Report patrons' dealings with outside organizations." That's what you receive.
And all right, I'll leave it alone there. I'm not going to respond back, and I will just leave.
Alrighty. So, a few hours go by. You guys do your various shenanigans about the city. And around dinner time, you guys meet back at 28 Dorset Court, where Stanfield has prepared a light dinner. And as you all gather around and enjoy your meal, the wizards come back down. It seems that one of them reminded Colin to look you all up in his book before coming downstairs. As he comes down, he kind of comes down the stairs, sort of like, "Okay, alright, half-orc, dragonborn, that one's okay, so that makes that one Walter. Okay, alright, I got it." He sits back, he sits down, they begin eating. And as you guys go through your, the motions of eating your meal and everything else, Dimios eventually says, "We have discussed the matter at great length and come to what we believe to be the most fitting solution to what we have all collectively stumbled upon. Both Colin and Namara and I am inclined to agree, ultimately, that this find should be presented to the Ordinum Libri, as using our information and under our contract, you were the first group to delve the ruin successfully. By rights, the discovery is accredited to the Collective of the Arcane Eye and the Fools Errant. This gives us a considerable amount of pull over what should be done with the ruin. The bookkeeper's mission of unveiling and preserving the past is one that we believe to be noble and, as much as is possible, above potential nationalistic quarrels that might arise by bringing the existence of this ruin to the governments of any of the five kingdoms. It is the bookkeeper's duty to study and respectfully learn what can be learned from this ruin, and disseminate that information without bias or ulterior motive to the people of the five kingdoms of Orhul. Though it is not how I ever imagined we would gain our access, this is far and away an important enough discovery to secure the collective a place within the bookkeepers. In a legal sense, should we present this to the bookkeepers, and they accept as the price of admission for the group of us into their order, The collective of the Arcane Eye, this, he gestures to the building around you in general, will be dissolved. From a technical standpoint, that will mean that our contract with you, as a registered relic hunting group, the Fools Errant, will come to an end. At this point, Namara speaks up, leaning forward in her chair and placing one elbow on the table, resting her chin in her long, thin hand. She says, "However, we would like to make an additional offer to you. The track record that your group has in the several months you have been working for us, as well as the claim as the first relic hunters to successfully find this intact Invarian ruin, that should be more than sufficient for us to include in our negotiations with the bookkeepers over the rights to this find. If you desire, I am confident that we can negotiate entrance into the bookkeepers' relic hunter division for all of you."
Alar's eyes just get wider than the dinner plate in front of him.
Colin says, Demia says, "We do not need an answer immediately. By and large, I would assume that things would continue for you very much as they have before, traveling, delving ruins, following leads that are presented to you. It would mean that the nature of our relationship would change from employer-employee to, well, I hope I am not too presumptuous in saying that it would change to something more of a colleague or even friend relationship. The Ordinum would offer, by and large, the same things that we had offered as employers: lodging, the opportunity to travel, see strange and exotic places, rewards, and payment for similar jobs to that which we were taken, but obviously on a much more, let us call it, grandiose scale. We are going to contact the bookkeepers tomorrow morning. It will likely take a few days of communication with them for them to arrange for a delegation to be dispatched here to see what we have to say. In that time, there are a few things that we would like to do, as there are, I am sure, things that you need to do in the city. I, for one, intend to see this ruin for myself before we hand it over to the bookkeepers. The teleportation circle that you've provided, that should not be out of the realm of possibility. At this point, what I will say is, at any time between now and we have our first discussions with the Ordinum Librae's delegation, I should like to know where you stand. If you desire for us to negotiate on your behalf for entrance into the bookkeepers, we can do this. If you feel it is time that you go your own way as a group or go your separate ways as individuals, simply inform us, and we will be more than happy to accept any outcome.
Well,
Alar hasn't blinked at all. He's
that's a lot.
We've chased opportunity this far. Why stop now?
I have been dreaming of this ever since I've heard the stories of the bookkeepers as a kid. Um, the chance to join that organization, absolutely.
Okay. I'm all for it. Why not? Start collecting organizations at this point.
Well, as I said, we will finalize this decision when the time comes. We would not want you to make any come to any conclusions hastily. And you guys are able to, finish your meal. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk with the wizards. And at that point, you are able to kind of go your separate ways and head off to bed. And what you find over the next little period of time.
Wasn't me.
It's the table
Was
freaking
not
out again.
me.
That was Russell.
That was great at me.
I watched the little pink finger like flick, and then everything fell apart, and I was like, "Yeah." I saw it.
Nothing works right like it should on this.
Oh God.
And the game crashed. Cool.
Let's see.
Darn it, Brom!
As we go to bed, the world ends.
From the
You
floor.
broke our hole!
Okay, we'll go back to this one. There's less stuff you guys can break on this map.
Oh, but I found so many. I had so many questions.
Questions about what?
Why is there a raccoon? Why is its tail the only one who's moving? Why is the Doberman a zombie? Why are there so many rats? Is Morgan friends with the raven? Who let the orc child alone by himself? Is he in charge of the cows? Why isn't there an option to pet the cows? Why is there a guy with a trident? Why does he have lanterns as shoulders? Why is the Witcher on the board? Is there a pink light
I
district?
see that giving Becca more things to look at was a terrible mistake.
You are not wrong.
The only thing that was there that you listed off, that raccoon is canonically not supposed to be there. That raccoon is something, but he's for later. I must have saved him onto the board while I was playing with him earlier.
Why is there a stove in the middle of the town square? Why are there so many crying children? I just found the horses, and these paintings are so fancy.
It was a forge, not a stove.
It's like a stove for metal.
Yeah, the metal stove. The paintings were very fancy. I did have to delete the Mona Lisa, as that was in there.
Demonetized.
Yep.
Sorry.
Basically at this point, you guys have a couple of weeks of downtime. So you all know I texted you asking you for downtime activity over this past week. What ends up happening is the Collective of the Arcane Eye contacts the bookkeepers to tell them, that they want to meet, that they want to go over this find, that they want to negotiate, and they arrange a delegation from the Ordinum Libri to come in 1 day from the following morning of when that discussion just took place, which will give you guys time to kind of do downtime activity throughout the city, in character, give the group time to really consider their decision, and will also give the collective time to, using the teleportation circle that you have provided, go and take a look at this ruin themselves before turning over the rights to it, as they're not just gonna give it up to the bookkeepers without poking around in there themselves first. So, what we are going to go through here in a couple of minutes is essentially a series of little vignette scenes that take place over the next 10 days in the in-game world while waiting for the Ordinum Libri delegation to come and negotiate with the wizards. And I'm going to handle it the same way as we did our little mini version there. I have a D6 here. I'm going to roll Or actually, maybe when we come back, I think I'll have you guys roll d6s, and we'll tackle him in like order of whoever gets the lowest rolls first. Basically, just follow, see what everybody's up to over the sort of over the course of the week, and then reconvene our little montage over the 10-day as the delegation from the Ordinum Libri arrives, and we see how that plays out. So, as it is 10:30, I'm going to say let's take our break very quickly this time. I will warn our viewers in advance. Our mid-roll video is about 4 minutes and some odd seconds long. I have not messed with the settings since last week, so it's not going to loop. It's going to play once, and then there's going to be a black screen of quietness until we come back. I will do my best to get my drink and come back here to try and catch the end of the video, and then at the very least I'll try and like open her back up and chat with folks as everybody else goes about their business. But we'll take about a 5-minute break to 8-minute break here, and play the second half of tonight's session. So thank you, everybody. There's been so many people in chat tonight. That's I'm loving it. Not sponsored by McDonald's. They can if they want to. Hit me up, McDonald's. And we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Thank you for sticking around with us so far. And please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey, and welcome back. So as I said, I tried not to let you guys sit in the black void of sadness for too long before jumping back in here. Jason is still a little bit AFK, but I wanted to jump back so that we can chit-chat with everybody. Let's see what other fun... we'll go back to the...
Don't worry, my chair was listening.
If I can find it, we'll go back to the Navirian map. We'll let that sit up here for the time being. And welcome back, everybody. So, we left off. Everybody had returned from a few hours of shenanigans throughout the city. Had the discussion with the Collective of the Arcane Eye that their plan is to trade essentially the rights to the exploration and research of this Anvarian ruin that you guys explored in exchange for admittance into the Ordinum Libri for their the trio of them, as well as, should you desire it, admittance for all of you. Chad is concerned that I killed off those guards off camera. We'll discover more in the saga of Gregory and Eldon very shortly, I'm sure. So we are returning, as I said here, doing a little bit of a montage. We have about a 10-day of downtime that the Fools Errant are able to just go about their various business things to do throughout the. Turn this way. Here's my Beholder Rodeo sign. You guys can see, and my gelatinous cube.
No.
So, I would like the group of you to roll so let's have everybody roll a d20, and lowest to highest we will go person to person and visit what's up with them.
What modifiers would you like to use?
just a straight d20.
14.
Okay, Elar's 14.
I got
7 for Brom.
Yeah.
What was Walter?
16.
16.
I think our stream broke. It did.
It did. It says we're live again, so we'll see. We should pop back up in a second here.
Did you move your computer that was streaming?
No.
Okay, we're back up.
We're
That's
back.
fine.
Alrighty, hey, sorry about that hiccup there, folks. Looks like Twitch is really having a time of it tonight. So, we have returned. and we were in the middle of rolling some stuff. So I have Walter at a 16, Alar at a 14, Brahm at 7, Fidget and Nula. What are you guys up to?
9.
9.
20.
But what if it was a 1?
Alrighty, well then, in that case, with 10 days to do whatever Fidget wants, what is Fidget doing?
The most important thing that Fidget is doing is waiting for Nula to be out and about and trying to get into Kel's stuff.
Okay.
Oh, blasphemy! Did everyone get kicked out of the server? The
Yep,
tabletop simulator?
Yep.
we did.
It probably
I
timed
did.
out again because they haven't touched it.
Yep, we need to be reinvited.
But we're really not going to use this for the remainder
Okay,
of the night,
then
I
just
doubt,
leave it
so
on.
it
Okay.
probably doesn't matter.
I'm
Okay.
going to drop the game.
Next week's session will involve. I have a bunch of like battle map stuff prepared for next week. This is by and large going to be a social session for the remainder of the night, I'm sure. I'll pull it back up if we end up really needing it, but for now the Navirian map should be fine for viewers, and just for us, we can theater of the minded. Alrighty, so waiting for a time that Nula is out, Fidget is going to try to sneak into Nula's room and raid Nula's stuff.
I'm not going to take it. I am just going to look at it
He wants to
until
look at
I find something that I need.
Okay.
And he'll steal that.
So,
Not stealing if I put it back before she notices.
alrighty. So, Nula, do you make a habit of locking your door when you leave the
Of
apartment?
locking the door? No.
Didn't seem like the type of thing for Nula to do. Alright, so Fidget, just go ahead and make me a stealth check as you try to sneak unseen into Nula's room as she is, when she is out and about one day.
That is a 17.
Okay.
You will also cast invisibility for her doing this. I don't know how invisibility works. Is that just advantage here?
That would be advantage, yeah, so you can roll again if you want.
Okay, 23.
Yeah.
Uh,
Alright. So, you make your way down the hallway on the second floor from where you're set up in your room that's been provided for you. You make your way to Nula's room. You've done your recon to make sure she's out, and you've probably detect creatured her to see if she's within 1,000 feet of the building. You are pretty confident Nula is not in right now, and you go and you just try the door handle on her door, and sure enough, it swings open. You're very quietly able to just shuffle in and close the door behind you. Go ahead, Nula. Why don't you describe your room to Kel as he stepped in it? What does he see?
It probably has an accumulation of pillows that I've just taken from other rooms.
Okay.
So, like, the bed is just a mishmash of pillows, and it doesn't look like there's really a head. It's like the bed is up against the wall, and the pillows just line the entire wall.
Okay.
so your dragon horde is pillows.
Yes. And like a mishmash of blankets. Probably the bed is not made. I would think my bag is probably sitting on like a chair next to the desk. Like it's in its specific spot.
Okay, so you have your bag is your gear is is kind of well situated.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you kind of walk in. You see the pillow nest, the unmade bed. It's probably like a poster for a boy band. It's like like the New Kids in Niveria poster is on the wall, and you ignore that. You go over to where the bag that you have, that Nula carries around while you guys are out and about traveling, is sitting on the chair by the desk. Seems to be fairly well put together in comparison to the rest of the room.
There's probably also a bunch of plants, but they look like they haven't been watered in a while.
Okay.
Fidget will make a mental note that it's strange for her to keep the plant corpses of her victims in her room. And then we'll just go take the bag and upend it on her bed.
All right. Shake the bag out. A bunch of stuff comes out of the bag. I don't have a care sheet. What kind of stuff's in your bag, Nila?
There's probably every corner you look, she's got a different sketching of Corey, just stuffed like in any book she has, folded into stuff. She probably has
piece of Peep.
I was gonna say there's a variety of snacks, like whatever the equivalent is to like a granola bar and a candy bar, and all just like stuffed in there.
Fantasy Mr. Goodyear is
Yep.
is in the
3 empty containers, all labeled sugar.
all right. Also, assuming there's like some practical things in there, I would hope. And I guess the pack, the pouch that has contained the critical belongings of one Kellen Forzair is in there as well.
I don't know. I don't think I would have put it in the bag. I think it's like in a very specific spot within the room.
Oh, this is the Kel bag.
Yeah.
I see. All right. Well, Fidget dumps your backpack all over the floor, and then like notices 1 foot to the left of where he picked that one up is the other bag that looks like it was Kel's. Fidget, you have found Kel's bag.
I think I would have Kel's bag like tucked away into something though.
All right. Well,
Like if it would fit.
Fidget can make an investigation check to search the room for it.
Fidget's going to cast Locate Object.
All right. That saves a lot of time. You dump Nula's bag. You kind of start looking around.
Yeah, he's just like as he's
what
going
am I
through
doing?
it and like finding things that don't matter, he's just putting them back in the bag, and it's just like these are not the things that I care about.
Alright, so after a couple of minutes, you're like, oh, I'm a wizard. That's right. And you just locate objects. So, you have Kel's bag. What are you doing?
We're going to go through it.
Okay. So, if I am correct here, the important items in Kel's bag consist of one quite antique-looking dagger in an ornate scabbard, with the pommel of the dagger, a worked metal visage of a dragon. A scale, roughly like small dinner plate sized, yay big. Sort of a pearlescent greenish color, except for one small corner where the color has been like rubbed away, leaving a ruddy brown of the natural scale color underneath. And then I guess after those two like plot relevant items that I know I like dispersed, you would know better than I would what types of things are in Kel's bag or would be in Kel's bag. So you can go ahead and tell me what you're looking for or what you find interesting.
I mean, there's still an assortment of children's books.
Yes, you have children's books.
There's still the Pizza Party punch card. and library card in the name of... Nope, this is the wrong notebook. I'm not going to have the name that it was under. And a letter from
Bertram Flick.
Archivist Bertram Flick.
Yes.
So I think Fidget is mostly interested in like the letter from Archivist Flick, the Pizza Party punch card, and library card in a name that is not their friends.
Sure.
And is probably going to take that as fate telling him he needs to go to the library because this does not make sense.
Okay. Are you taking anything from the bag, or are you putting it all back?
I'm taking the library card and the letter.
Okay. And then everything else you're returning to the bag?
Yep.
All right. Then we're going to do this. We're going to... We'll go like initiative order. We'll cycle Fidget around to the back as Fidget gets his hands on these things and has now made the determination that he needs to pay a visit to the Mythilindian Royal Library and find somebody named Bertram Flick. We will jump over. Starwipe 80s music. Walter. About 4 days after your initial sending spell goes off, you receive your message back that Moxham has been informed of your find. A messenger sparrow finds you on the street. Just a standard kind of barn swallow, the normal species of messenger sparrow that is used throughout the city of Niveria and most of the kingdom of Mithlinde. But when it reaches you, and you hear out the message, it is the voice of that half-elven woman from the Moxham Enclave. And the message in the sparrow tells you that a parcel is waiting for you at the embassy. Come and pick it up at your earliest convenience. When you head to the embassy, to the Moxham Enclave, to pick up whatever this parcel is, you are greeted not by the half-elven woman that you have interacted with most other times you've been here, but with a sort of short, tousle-haired, slightly graying human man who, as soon as you walk in, even though you have never seen him before, seems to know who you are. You see his eyes like flick to your shovel as you enter, and he gets up and walks out to the back room. He comes back a moment later with a black scroll tube. He sets it on the desk in front of him, and as you go to reach out to take it, he kind of draws it back a half inch, and he just says, "It is of course a formality, sir, but I am required to ask to see your company seal."
I'm gonna lean in, maybe a little bit more aggressively than I should, as I'm revealing my arm to show
Slide up your shoulder, your sleeve. He flinches a little bit, and he says, "Yes, thank you, sir. I do apologize. It is simply, you can understand the nature of. We must ensure that these parcels
I
received
understand.
by their." And he just kind of hands it to you, and backs away.
All right, I will take the parcel. As I'm taking it while my sleeve is still rolled up, I am going to use my Mask of Many Faces to cast Disguise Self to like remove the mark.
Okay.
And just give him a little wink and leave, and turn around and leave.
Disappears. He makes no comment as you do this. You get the impression that he's sort of whatever it is that he has heard about you or about the the type of people that do your job within the Moxham organization. He seems to be more than happy that you are leaving and nothing bad has happened to him. As you walk outside, you I assume you're finding a kind of a quiet corner to read your scroll here. As you do, easy enough to kind of slip out of the main thoroughfare, and you open the black scroll. And in that familiar, lilting, well-practiced cursive, the same deep red ink that is always used, a letter from Moxham. It is brief, to the point as it usually is, and entirely devoid of pleasantries. It says, "My other sources throughout the realms indicate that the bookkeepers are quite excited about a discovery. I hear a delegation is being sent to Neveria. I am to assume this matter and that which you have contacted me about are the same. I am, of course, bound by the laws of the realm. I cannot interfere. If a rightful claim has been made on a ruin or other type of find. I do, however, have my ways of staying in the loop. For now, stick close with these negotiations. If you can find your way into the good graces of the bookkeepers, all the better. It will be useful at a later time, I'm sure. There is several line space, and then a final single line. My instructions on the lantern remain the same. Signed with one large ornate M. Turn the paper over, and you're surprised, as there is actually something written on the back. This is not something that Moxham generally makes a habit of doing. He generally keeps his letters to a few concise lines. It does say on the back, however, you continue to exceed all of my expectations. Take this as a token of my favor. Continue to serve well, and more gifts shall follow. And you're a little confused for a moment as you take what and flip the paper over again. You reach into that scroll tube and you kind of feel, you're sort of feeling around on the inside. Your fingers just brush against a metal chain that has been attached to the inside of the scroll tube. A strip of what would almost be described as like cheesecloth that seems to have been like soaked with like a mild adhesive has been laid over top and stuck to the inside of this scroll tube, securing to the side of it the object that you now feel. And you kind of pick away the cheesecloth a little bit with your finger. You grab onto this chain and you're able to pull an item out. And what you retrieve, hanging on about yeah, oh, you can't really see that. Yay much chain, so that it could be placed about one's neck and hang, roughly sternum height. Is a dark, smooth, cut crystal, about 6 inches in length. It has been attached to the chain with a fastening that has been attached to the end of the crystal. As you take it in your hand, you immediately feel the thrum of power flowing through it. It is perfectly attuned to the magics that have been bestowed upon you by Moxham, your patron. And you can feel that this will work as a conduit for your spells, should you need. And there's something else about it, a little curiosity at the corner of your mind, a sense almost that there are more secrets within this crystal than immediately meet the eye. A sense of magics that come from distant places, distant people, distant sources, but somehow are imprinted upon this item. You feel that with a little ingenuity and a little luck, in a pinch, you might be able to call on these arcane imprints through this crystal and perform feats of magic that are not within your normal repertoire. So go ahead and add a Dark Shard Amulet to your inventory. And you can take some time to attune to that, and it is yours.
Little level up music in the back.
Yeah. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
All right. So yeah, I'll take my time to attune to that. And
Star Wipe. And we see Alar and Dimios. You are on the 3rd floor of 28 Dorset. It is roughly 4 days after the initial contact to the bookkeepers has been made. Dimios is busying himself. He has your notebook in one hand, Alar, and he has a piece of chalk in his his gloved hand. And he is delicately tracing runes from your map in chalk around the spell circle at the center of the floor in their arcanum. As he is completing this work, he kind of speaks over his shoulder to you, and he says, Alar, I am glad that you were available and willing to accompany me back to the Invarian ruin. It is, of course, my first love will always be the study of the ley energies, but I shall certainly not pass up an opportunity to poke my nose around an Invarian ruin left untouched by time or the ravages of less wholesome relicanters as yourselves. I am quite excited to see what lays within.
The honor's mine, Master Themrin.
And he looks and he says, all right, and with one more that should about... Good. All right. He hands back your notebook. He says,
I stash it, and I check the 7 or 8 coils of rope I have.
He kind of smiles at you a little bit. He says, I assure you I am more than capable of navigating any climbs or falls that would be required with magical means, but I suppose luck favors the prepared.
And one thing I did discover delving this You can never have too much rope.
It says, very well. Step within the circle, please.
He steps within.
Says, all right, here we go. And he closes his eyes and he makes a number of arcane gestures with his hands, mutters an incantation. And a moment later, the familiar sort of bluish glow of a teleportation circle thrums to life. The fabric of space and time, not time, just space. The fabric of space sort of ripples and peels open, creating the spherical portal. The other side, you can see the dark chamber of the Invarian ruin. He gives you a nod. Together, the two of you step through the circle.
Once on the other side, I will hand him one of the potions of comprehend languages. I'll point out one of the if there's one of the Invarian signs. Yeah, these were invaluable when seeing the, I guess, visions of the past. Also, they're quite useful for translating what I assume is actual Invarian.
We shall see indeed. What you find very quickly is that after the destruction or disabling of that device down on the lower levels, those creatures have not rematerialized or come back together, and the experience that the group of you had on your way down, being visited by these echoes of the past, no longer continues. It seems that experience belongs to you and the other Fools Errant alone.
He will describe it as they're going along. He'll use minor illusion to conjure what some of them look like to give Dimios an idea. He's doing a sort of a running commentary, but whenever Dimios leans in to study something, he clams up
Sure.
immediately.
So as you guys proceed through the chamber, Dimios is examining the structure itself. When you kind of you stop at some of the workstations or desks as you saw them used as in the flashbacks, and you kind of described to him what you had seen in the echoes of the past, that they had these sort of illusory arcane projections above them that seemed to be able to be manipulated by the Invarians. And he kind of nods and he says, I've heard rumors that this sort of technology is not uncommon in the Invarian Empire. The means through which they managed to power much of their devices that they used has long since eluded us. It does not seem to be a particular brand of magic that is extant in this day and age. We're always hopeful that we will stumble across the true source of it.
Yeah, I'm afraid it didn't reveal itself in any of the visions that we saw. Even in, I guess, desperation, attempted to cast a spell through it to see if I could send a spark through, as it were, but nothing happened.
He nods. Many a scholar spent their life studying such things, but to no avail.
Master Themron, did you have you done many? I mean, not like this, but you've been on many delves, yes?
In my day, yes. Namara and Cullen and I travelled for must have been close to 20 years. We led this life. Of course, that was when we were younger and not so, well, you know, damaged.
Well, I can imagine even after decades of delving, something like this is something out of the Bard's tales, like the things I heard as a child of blade singers and heroes and things of that nature.
He kind of turns. He says, "You have heard of blade singing?"
Uh, I've heard it. I'm something I should say is most of the stories that I heard as a child, of course, came out of the Ignean Empire. So elves are heroes, humans are okay, everybody else is bad. So of course, all the blade singers were elvish. But yeah, I've heard about not warriors who are wizards, but wizards who, if necessary, can be warriors too.
He's quiet for a while after you have this exchange as you guys continue to delve through the ruin. You make your way down a few levels through a combination of spell work and a little bit of crowbarring on your part. You guys are able to make your way back through those hatches, and Dimios pretty easily, like Featherfall levitates you guys up and down as needed. But after a brief period of contemplation, that you get the senses kind of deeper than just the things that you're looking at in the ruins. He says, "Far be it from me to make a statement like this definitively. The history of Orahol is long and sordid and fraught with complicated battles, changing of hands, and tampering with history, but blade singing, as it is called, is not a tradition that originates with the Elvish people. That honor, as I know to be the truth, originates with a group of nomads known as the Utova. Have you ever heard of them, Mr. Cabot?"
I'm afraid I haven't, but well, like I said, the Ignean Empire, all the great discoveries were made by elves. I've long since learned to discard that immediately and uh, assume otherwise until it's actually proven that an elf did it. These people, were they a specific race, or or were they a tribe of?
He says,
Or
"It is hard to say. It is also not surprising that you've not heard of them. There are not many true Utova left in Orahul, from what I understand. The original true-blooded Utova, from what I have heard, claim to trace their ancestry back to something akin to humans, but with a touch of the arcane in their blood. They are a nomadic people, as I said. Something of a cross between troubadours, sellswords, storytellers. Over the years, they have grown diluted as outsiders to the Utova people have joined. Other traveling bands have taken up their name. As these things happen, it is the Utova, in the state that they are now, are quite different than the true Utova. There are some who say they originally migrated from far south, somewhere in the Iolaquis archipelago. Others still make claims that they traveled from a distant land, another continent, across the Great Sea to the east. The Odova themselves, if you can find one, are not keen on sharing this information. They rather enjoy the shroud of mystery surrounding their lore. But as it was taught to me, blade singing originated with them.
Ooh. You were trained by a blade singer?
He smiles a little ruefully and he says, "That is correct. Though I am no longer able to call myself a blade singer, I was at one time."
Wow.
Kind of chuckles a little and he says, "Took me many years to earn my keep among the band of Odova that I traveled with. I left my home, a small town on the western shores of Mithrinday, quite far south, far enough that life there was little different to living under the Crown's rule as our neighbors just a few miles south, living in Honorand. I left my home when I was, I could not have been more than 17, 18. Allured by the promise of adventure and travel, as many a young man are. I spent a good part of my youth travelling with the Otova, and one, an elder shaman of their people, of their group, by the name of Klevak, purported to be just such a blade singer. Took many a year, but eventually I convinced him to take me on as an apprentice, and thus my life as a travelling, dungeon-delving, blade-singing relic hunter began. This was all before I met Namara and Colin, of course. Not that long before.
That actually kind of answers one question I've always had.
What would that be?
Well, any wizard by him or herself is a very formidable foe, but getting close with one and they don't wear armor, and the average skilled hand with a sword can be quite dangerous. But combine a wizard with skill with a blade, and suddenly you have something quite different.
Yes, though blade singing is more than simply this. It is the perfect harmony of steel and body and mind and voice and willpower. It is less a wizard with a sword, as it is a wizard who has learned to bend the very forces of the arcane around him with nothing more than his will and his voice.
That sounds absolutely amazing.
He laughs a little. He says, "Oh, it was quite impressive in my time. If I could be so bold, of course."
Well, if I may also be so bold, should you ever be of a mind, I would like to ask if you'd be willing to, if you are, like I said, if you're willing, perhaps demonstrate?
He's quiet for a few moments. You guys are now on the that first sub level. You're kind of standing over the large crevasse um, where the crane fell in. He has his back to you, and without turning in your direction, he says, "A demonstration is not something I am capable of any longer."
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked. I
He
apologize.
he turns around and he's giving you sort of an appraising look. He looks you up and down, and he says, "But I sense that that is not truly what you are asking." He kind of looks.
Not entirely. I mean, obviously, to see something like that would be a gift in and of itself. I want to help the others more. I am. I'm a thief with a couple of magic tricks. I can throw somebody's attention off. I can call up a few things to hurt someone. I can turn myself invisible, but I want to be able to do more so I can help the others more. I can help Nula by strengthening myself and standing side by side with her when facing an enemy, or cast a spell to aid Walter as he's summoning whatever energies he has. He looks down at all the coils of rope he's carrying. The more tools you have in your bag, the more things that you can do, and the more things you can do, the more useful you can be. And I've spent my entire life, from being a locksmith's apprentice to my father, always trying to figure out how something works or how to do something, not just one way, but a bunch of different ways. And that's why I've traveled 100 miles at one point just on the rumor that someone might know a spell to summon a familiar. That's how I learned this. And Scooter appears on his shoulder.
He nods. He says, "You have the right build for it. And you're not, as I have come to know you, a person with a malicious heart. I had long resigned myself to the thought that what I had learned, the craft that I had practiced in my youth, would likely perish with me. And I fear that a good deal of it will. But if you are willing to learn, I am perhaps willing to teach."
Dare played eyeballs again. Really?
One of the principles of the Odova people is a sense of right and wrong. A certain harmony of mind and body is required to be a competent blade singer. I believe that I see a spark of that in you, Mr. Gabbett. I think you and your friends are at the beginning of a very long and very interesting career. And if I have a few things that I can pass along to you, he kind of holds up that gloved hand, handicap will allow, then I think it would be a good legacy for me to leave.
You already have left in legacy. I I don't think I've said this before, and at the very least, let me say it now. No matter what happens with the negotiations with the Ordinum Libri, thank you. If not for just the others for giving me a shot. This year, doing this is everything I dreamed. And I'm searching out ancient delves like this, and I'm getting to help people. This is, like I said, this is all I dreamed about doing. Being able to do something good and maybe dig up a few lost bits of history.
Come now. Stuff and nonsense. You're going to make a crusty old wizard get all emotional. I appreciate it, but let us now turn our attention back to this fantastic relic that surrounds us.
Oh, wait. Trust me, when we get down to the bottom, this will pale in comparison to what we're about to see.
And pale in comparison it does, as you and Dimios continue your adventures down through this relic, this Invarian research station. You show him what is to be found. He is quite careful. He studies, he examines things, but he's quite careful not to disturb anything, to touch anything, leaving it as is for the full study that will be conducted in the coming months and years, potentially. And having perhaps a deeper understanding of one another, and of course having extracted the promise that, though it may be slightly limited by his own physical limitations, Dimios will attempt to pass on some of what he knows of the arcane tradition of blade singing to you. With that, crossfade, star wipe. Cue the jaunty fun time music as we get to Nula. Nula.
Uh-huh.
I don't even think I need to ask. You're seeking your guards, right?
Yep, with the puppy.
With Puppy.
With puppy.
So, a few days into your guys' wait, you head out, making your usual rounds. You head, as always, first to the gate that you had encountered Gregory and Eldon for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You head down the street, Blinky the Blink Puppy kind of following closely at your heel, occasionally sort of like popping off, teleporting a few feet away to like sniff a child, like, pop back, pops away, kind of like scampers around the feet of a street vendor. You cause quite a bit of a stir as you're going. You're a nearly 7-foot tall dragonborn with a teleporting puppy at your heels. People at the very least turn to kind of watch you go. Blinky the Blink Dog quickly gathers a trailing crowd of children following you and the dog around. Blinky quickly finding her flow, playing chase with the children, kind of like scampering on her paws or letting the children kind of get close, but just before one of them catches up to like grab her, catch her, pick her up, she gives an excited like "Grr!" and then poof, teleports away, much to the delighted cheers of the children who kind of follow in your wake as you head towards the up. I want to say it's the Field Gate, the Grain Gate, or something of that nature. It's one of those ones. Mithlinde, Niveria. It is the Harvest Gate. I knew it was something like that. Harvest Gate. That's the easternmost gate there on the outer ring. And as you arrive on this day, you spot the familiar face of Eldon, one of the two guards flanking the gate. The other individual on guard with him is not Gregory. It is a woman that you don't recognize. And they're, just kind of going about their business, sort of standing either side of the gate, sort of staring off into the middle distance, occasionally giving a look over to the crowd as people come and go through the gate and move about the small square on the inside of the gate here.
Eldon! 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 Eldon!
Oh. Good afternoon, Miss Nula.
I got a puppy!
Oh, did you know? That's that's interesting. Is it particularly, and then teleport? Oh, well, it is a particularly interesting puppy.
It's a blink puppy. Her name is Blinky.
Clever as always, Miss Nula. And must say I've never seen a dog that can teleport like that before.
It's a blink puppy. It blinks here, it blinks there. It just kind of, I don't know, wizardy stuff.
I see. Does it like to get big?
Yeah, I think it's gonna get kind of big.
Like, how big? It's not to burst your bubble, but it's it's you're always all cute now. But if he's the size of a bear in 3 months, you might have some problems.
Nula does the, like where her hands are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well,
Hear ye, hear ye, that's what she said.
Now I can't be totally sure, but I don't know what my accent sounds like. What am I? Oh, I'm Irish. That's right. I remember. I'm an Irishman. Okay. I'm fairly sure that your friend Brom has been putting on a hat and running around the city with a bell, making a lot of really derogatory announcements after one of your wizard friends. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, he does that sometimes.
Oh, I suppose if he's not hurting anybody. Well, maybe just feelings, but I suppose hurting feelings not strictly speaking against the law.
As long as when you say wizardy friend, you mean, our group and not like the 3 wizards we live with.
No, or the older gentleman, dwarf, I believe he was.
He's making fun of him?
Quite a bit of fun, aye.
What was he saying?
I don't know. Let's give a gander and see what he might be saying.
Hear ye, hear ye. That dwarf is a bitch.
It's been more or less some variant of that.
I need to deal with that. But first, Nula turns to the woman. I don't think we've ever met.
She kind of has this sort of judgy look on her face. Um, and she says, sort of briskly, Guardswoman Relka. Nope, that's the wrong column. Guardswoman Greta. And
Greta.
yes, and she shoots a look at Eldon, or at Gregor, Eldon. Yeah, Eldon. Shoots a look at Eldon, and it is improper for a guard to be fraternizing while one is supposed to be guarding. She sort of turns away from you. He goes, I don't mind her. She's a bit of a spoil sport.
I don't want to get you in trouble, though.
He kind of looks around at the sort of peaceful, quiet square. He says, having a little bit of a conversation with the citizens never hurt anybody. He says, I can't be chit-chatting all the livelong day, and obviously I've got to say on my post, but no different than if anybody were to ask for directions or some other such thing.
That's how we met. I asked for directions.
Aye, I'll remember.
I met you and Gregory. Speaking of which, where's Gregory?
He sort of frowns a little bit at that. And he says, oh, right. You've not been in the city for some time then, have you, Miss Nuala?
We were on a mission for the wizards and we were out for 2 months.
He considers for a moment, and then he looks over at Greta, and he says, "We ought to have a conversation. One, I think, that is just a wee bit, perhaps, outside of the realm of casual conversation. That's all right while I'm on duty."
All right. Well, I should, stop Brom from being an asshole.
He says, well, I'm only posted until till 1:30 the next hour. If you'd like to, why don't you meet me over at that little park where we all went skating the other few months back?
Sounds good. We'll meet over there. Come on, Blinky. We gotta get Brom and stop his wailing.
Alrighty. So, we'll kind of fast track a little bit here. Is you make your way over there, you wait the allotted time, and we'll jump here to the the appointed time of your meeting. Some shouting between you and Brom presumably took place, as he seems to be. He's just moving all around the city.
Brom, I'm gonna give you a noogie.
I was gonna see if Russell was gonna respond. He's not.
Oh, she cut out. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, she said she's gonna give you a noogie.
Oh. They'll never take me alive!
So Eldon strolls up to you. He's out of his guard regalia and just in kind of street clothes, as an unnoogied Brom hotfoots it in the other direction away from you. He kind of sidesteps as Brom runs past and just sort of gives a confused "Oi, all right, well." And he comes up Nuala to you where you're waiting, kind of gestures to a bench nearby, and the two of you go and sit down. He sits back and he gives takes a don't know how to tell you this, Miss Nula, but... Well, Gregory's gone.
Gone? What do you mean gone?
Well, it's sort of a long story. Kind of personal. I suppose I ought to start at the beginning. He kind of looks and he says, "Now, listen, this... Do me a favour, I'd like this to stay between us."
Mm-hmm.
Right, well... About... I don't know, must be 10 days ago now at this point, about a month ago. Gregory was acting real... He was acting real weird. Nervous, like, kind of fidgety. I asked him while we were on duty, I said, "Mate, what's the problem? You're acting all weird." Well, he said he had something he needed to talk to me about. Well, I didn't think much of it, and he told me meet me for a pint. Well, we did, and he sort of confessed some things to me. Feelings wise.
Mm-hmm.
He told me a lot of things. Said he'd had some feelings for a long time. Never wanted to act on them. Didn't want to say nothing. Didn't want to, interfere with our friendship. Any of that. He said that he'd been thinking about it a long time, and he really needed to clear the air, And when he was all done, he said he wanted to know what I thought. I'm afraid I might have... I don't know if I could have phrased it different. I tried to be supportive, but I told him I didn't have those types of feelings.
Mm-hmm.
1,000 miles away, Aelor suddenly looks up. Oh, hell.
He says, I told him, I said that I was touched that he felt that way about me, and that it didn't change anything about how I thought of him, or any of that, but he seems to be at a little bit of a loss for words. He says, I'm... in a romantic sense, interested in the losses.
Hmm.
He says, I explained it to him. I told him it didn't change anything about the way I felt about him or anything.
Do you know where he's at?
He kind of slumps back on the bench. He says, "That's the thing. We had a talk. I told him right what I've told you. That it wasn't anything about him. It's just not the way I'm put together, or whatever you want to call it. And we said we were still mates and would all be good, and he seemed fine with it. He didn't turn up the next day for our shift. I went and asked the sergeant about it at the guard post. Sergeant said he'd sent word that he wasn't feeling well. I sort of figured he was, I don't know, maybe feeling a little embarrassed about the way that things had gone. I thought I needed to give him some space. I left him be for a couple of days. Sent word to round his place that I hoped he was all right, and if he were interested to talk again, I'd be keen on it. After about, it must have been after about a week, I decided enough were enough, and I'd go and see him myself. So I went looking for him, you know. And Miss Nula, I went to his place, the room he rents from a kindly old lady down in the North Gummins. She told me he'd taken his things and given up the room. I went to his sister's house after that to look after him. He kind of like heaves one big sigh, and he says, his sister told me that Gregory had stopped by, given her a few things, and told her he was going to leave the city for a while.
Where does his sister live?
She's over in the South Commons. She told me he said he spent almost his entire life behind the various walls, and that it was time to get out and see the world. She said he was planning on heading west towards Festenost. She said he thought he might go and see the ocean after that. He was planning to secure work with a caravan to make the trip. He'd been gone a week already by the time I got to his sister.
Do you know what caravan he went on?
He shakes his head. He says, no. Neither does she. He says that were a month ago. He didn't even say goodbye to me. And I don't know. I've just been thinking about the conversation we had, that if I'd have said things differently, if I'd have been gentler, I don't know. I didn't mean to hurt him or to drive him away. I just don't feel the same way.
When it comes to feelings and stuff, you can't, you can't deny if you have that feeling or not. You can't lie about it. So I'm sure you did your best to tell him that. Let him down easy.
I don't know. Worst part is that, well, if he doesn't come back, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to tell him that. Talk to him again.
I'm sure when he comes back, he'll want to talk to you again.
Sort of
He'll come back.
nods. He says, I hope so.
People don't leave your life forever. They come back.
Kind of nods, and then he nods more assuredly. And you see him, he sort of looks at you, and kind of the understanding dawns on his face as he kind of, looks at you. And kind of pats your much larger hand with his. He says, Aye, that's right. People don't leave your life forever. Don't matter how long it'll take, we'll see him again. Make everything right.
We just gotta find him then.
Says maybe. Says for now I think at least my place is to be here. If he does come back, he'll know where to find me.
Do you want to write him a letter if I come across him when I find him?
Kind of thinks for a minute and he says, seems like sort of a long shot, but why not?
Okay. Okay, you write the letter and I'll pick it up tomorrow morning.
Alright, will do.
Should I not pick it up at your usual working spot since
he says, why
unhappy face?
He says, I don't mind her, she's just a bit of a grump. He says, I'll stop by the wizard's place on my way to my shift tomorrow.
Okay.
He kind of stands up and he turns, he says, Nula,
Mm-hmm.
you're a good friend.
I try.
Kind of like gives you a little pat on the upper arm. He turns and he walks away.
Once he's out of earshot, I will talk to Blinky and be like, yeah, we need to find Gregory and we gotta find Corey. Eventually we'll find our friends and we'll diverge our feelings and things will be better. Isn't that right? Isn't that right, girl? Yeah.
Alrighty. And as we draw towards the close of our episode, last but certainly not least, Brom, as you return to 28 Dorset, quickly stowing Horatio, the town crier's hat and bell, you hear thump, 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 thump. As Colin comes down the stairs, he looks at you and he says, Oi! Who are you?
125.
Balls! Hold on. Turns around.
I'm the Mayo guy.
He gets about halfway up that first flight of stairs. He stops. Oh, really? Well,
You just said the secret word.
You better come with me.
Okay.
He guides you upstairs. He heads over to his corner of the arcane laboratory, and he goes and he grabs his big book and he opens up. He finds 125 and he reads your entry. Okay. Crowbars. Alright. Powdered wig. Got it. Mail jar. Oh, that's right. You're the lad that Namara gave my alchemy jug to. Okay. Sets the book down. He says, I had been wondering. I couldn't remember what in the blazes had inspired me to write to Bolus and ask him for this thing. But it was you. Ha 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 ha. Alright, lad, wait right there 1 second. And he goes rummaging under his desk. He says, alright, hang on, I put it here somewhere. Just wait, that's... Okay, hold on. I got it. No, is this it? No, that's not it. Hang on, it's not... I swear I had it right here a second ago. Hold on, don't go anywhere. After a few moments, he comes back. And he pulls out a case. About 3 feet long. About 9 inches high. A matched pair of brass clasps. And he says, okay. So, deal was that if I could find you something good enough, you'd be willing to trade me that alchemy jug for it, eh? Okay. I wrote to Bolus. He owes me a couple, seeing as, you know, I sent a lot of you down and saved him from getting ate up by his house and all. And I told him of my predicament. Bolus is a long-term friend of mine, you understand. He knows of my long-standing love of mayonnaise. When I told him who you were, I copied your notes from my book down. He remembered you, of course. Spoke very highly of you. Great dancer, he said. I thought that was weird, but hey, you know.
He knows what's up.
He did recover one particular item from the ruins of his house that he thought might be of interest to you. He pats it. Pat, pat, pat. This baby right here.
You telling me there's a baby in there?
I don't think so. He turns it around. No.
Good, because I don't need a second baby.
125. Dubious relationship to unknown baby. Right. My notes on you are a little bizarre, my friend. Anyway, this right here, I think, is the thing that you need. The thing that you're gonna want. Exchange for a jar that, as far as you're concerned, only seems to be worth making metal to trade with me. He spins it back around, flips the clasps again, and he opens it up. And inside is a 3-stringed instrument. Similar in shape to like a lute, but much more compact, a little squarer, and, like I said, with 3 strings. It is evident, just from looking at it, that this item is a masterpiece. It's much more understated than that sort of candy apple fire engine red masterwork violin that you hawked out of that guy's shop. It's not as flashy to look at, but you can almost feel power vibrating off of this instrument. Just like the reverberation of like the air currents against the strings seem to be causing this almost sub-audible like to the air as you look at this instrument. He goes, what do you think?
Does it do anything special? Besides the obvious?
He says, oh, my friend. This... Oh, you don't even know what this is. This
No, that's why I asked.
is... Hold on, let me get the letter from Bolus. This is a fuck-looking bandor.
It's a fucking what?
It's a fucking fuck-looking bandor, my friend.
All right.
Don't tell me you don't know. I thought you were one of them fancy boys with the strings and the musical magic.
Right, first of all, I don't appreciate the word fancy boy.
Seems to me like someone needs to be a little more secure in their masculinity.
Seems to me like somebody isn't getting any goddamn mayo.
Alright, fair point. Fair point. Let's try these negotiations from the top. This is a fuck-looking bandor, otherwise known as an instrument of the bards. There are quite a few different types of these, each master-crafted by some of the finest instrument makers of legendary bardic colleges throughout the land. This one was made by the Foklukin Bardic College, and it's a bandor.
Got it.
He goes, oh, for fuck's sake, just here. He hands it to you.
Okay.
As you take it in your hands, you immediately feel the thrum of power through the instrument. He says, legend has that these instruments can only be used by someone who's trained extensively in the musical arcana. Better than Fancy Boy, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright. Extensive training in the musical arcana. You can use this instrument to channel magic, spells. Arcanum itself has been woven into the very fibers that make up this instrument. Give it a strum. The Fokluken Bandor is an instrument of the bards. Side note. Did you even look at the spells associated with the various
yes, I
instruments?
did.
Okay. Or did you
actually-
just see that it was called
No.
Fokluken and decide you wanted it?
No, it was the fact that I was between that and another one, and the Fucklukin was the deciding factor.
So, this is an instrument of the bards, and as you take this in your hands, and you feel the magic emanate through it, you can tell that the enchantments on this instrument are such that through the right chord combinations and notes, you can affect the same result as casting a spell. The myriad of spells, of course, being fly, invisibility, levitate, protection from good and evil, entangle, fairy fire, shillelagh, and speak with animals. Which, I don't know if this is rules as written, but is a DM house rule that I'm making right now.
It uses spell thoughts.
You absolutely can use shillelagh
To El Kabong people.
To El Kabong people with his weapon.
I
don't think rules is written you're supposed to be able to shillelagh the instrument because it's not like a wooden weapon, but fuck if we're not going to let you shillelagh that instrument and El Kabong people with it.
So, as someone who has extensively researched shillelagh to make sure I can use a shovel, as part of casting shillelagh, you are technically supposed to make a melee spell attack. So, like, it's part of, you burn a bonus action to do it. So, like, if you're playing the El Kabong guitar, technically that is what's in your hands when you're casting shillelagh.
El Kabong, baby.
So, outstanding choice, sir.
He says, so, do we have a deal?
Yeah, take a goddamn mayonnaise.
You're like, yes. After all these years.
And I put the instrument back in the case, I lock it up, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna get the hell out of here because
leave me now.
I really don't want to see what happens with you with that mayonnaise. But like, as Brom like leaves, he closes the door, but he's like,
Gee, I hope that's a spoon making that noise.
Yeah.
Good night,
As you're
everybody.
leaving, he casts the spell, summon sandwiches, and he just starts going to town. So that's the episode. Alrighty. So next week we will get back to Fidget's second part of Fidget's little adventure there, as he visits the library, and then we will get on to the arrival of the bookkeeper's delegation and the negotiations to obtain entry into the Ordinum Libri by the wizards, and the final yay or nay as to whether the Fools Errant wish to try and join along with them. And with that, I will thank you all for sticking with me. Do we want to quickly do a golden D20?
yeah, Becca had it, and she didn't even use it.
Becca had it. Well, there was not a lot of rolling happened tonight, so I mean, we can let Becca keep it for next week, or we can vote for somebody to take it over this week. If chat has anything to suggest, they can as well. Well, I'm looking back. It seems the chat is not down for the tragedy of Gregory and Eldon that is taking place in our
Can we
story
give it-
currently.
Can we give it to Nula for exiling a recently out gay man?
I don't think you can give it to her for that reason.
I would also vote for Nula for being the talk of the town, much to Brahm's dismay, despite being the town crier or attempting to be, with Blinky and, her now new quest of locating. Well, she's just going to pick up an entire drawing tablet of people that she's going to be searching for. Have you seen this one? Have you seen this one? How about this guy? Her? Him?
Nula's quest is locate friends and animals. Like, that's just her personal quest.
We'll have to do a one-shot that's set like 20 years in the future, and it's just Nula trying to find everybody she's ever met.
I think we're gonna do a one shot where Nula gets just like, she just gets like lost. She gets separated from you guys in the grocery store, and it's an entire one shot of her trying to find her friends. All right, so it sounds like Nula seems to be our deciding she's going to keep the golden D20 for next week. So thank everybody for joining us tonight. Plot twist.
Luke and Bandor was a second, very, very close second.
Plot twist. All the people are turned into dogs. Yes. All right, I'm going to write down
Immediately from Dogs for Life 22.
dog themed.
Also, Becky, you're still muted.
Oh, Dogs for Life 22 missed LBD. The talking canine kung fu dog from like 25 episodes ago, who will absolutely be returning. soon as I
Also,
get
and I'm
this.
pretty sure is the only reason we successfully navigated that entire scenario.
That's true.
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
thank you guys for joining us. Nula and Brahm for their roleplay, or Alar. Like I said, V Brown helping no one, voting for everybody in sequence there. I keep getting sidetracked by chat here. Thank you for joining us. We will be here next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. To continue our adventure. And same bat time, same bat station right here on Proficiency Bonus. Please be sure to subscribe and follow if you have not done so. Find us on YouTube, Tabletop Legends. You can catch up with all of our backlogged episodes. I finally stopped being a putz and got them all uploaded, so we are up to date as of tonight's live episode. Yay, me.
Well done. And thank you.
And join us next week as we figure out how to do this.
Flip the table.
Yeah. And we continue to experiment with technology and have a grand old time figuring out what the best way to bring you fun time D&D entertainment as we all are quarantined and separate for the foreseeable future. And yeah, I leave you with this. Huzzah! Alrighty, thank you for joining us, guys. See you next week, and good night.